Representative Libby has now filed a lawsuit against the Maine State Speaker of the House for the censure, and she joins us now. Welcome back. Thanks so much for taking the time with us today. So, can you bring us up to speed, the latest in your efforts to have your voice heard following the censure vote?
The censure that the Democrat majority and the Speaker of the House put on me has disenfranchised 9,000 Maine citizens in my district who no longer have a voice or a vote. So on Tuesday, we filed with federal district court asking for an injunction so that I can represent my constituents fully in the State House.
So, Representative, can you help me a little bit here? Because I know we've heard a lot about censure because the House censured Al Green for his outburst during the president's speech last week. And it was basically a slap on the wrist, don't do that again. But you're telling me in the state of Maine that a censure revokes you of your ability to represent your constituents and vote?
I want to clarify, there is a provision in the Constitution that allows for removing a sitting legislator. And the distinction there is that it requires a 2/3 vote, which the Democrats knew they didn't have. The censure came down to 75-70 on party lines. And so they used a rule, not a statute or the Constitution, to strip me of my voice and my vote by a simple majority vote. And the requirement that they have put on me to get my voice and vote back is that I apologize for speaking the truth and highlighting that biological males are dominating in women's sports in Maine.
There's been some reporting by the Maine Wire that in your efforts to actually hear a judge listen to your complaints about wanting to end this censure, you're having difficulty finding a judge in the state of Maine. Can you speak to that?
Maine judges have recused themselves, and it looks like our case is going to be heard by a judge in Rhode Island. Whether we're talking about a Maine judge or a Rhode Island judge, I'm looking forward to my day in court and my constituents' day in court so that we can address this head on and get resolution from, unfortunately, the judicial branch, because it won't be forthcoming from the Democrat majority or Speaker Fecteau.
You know, it's really clear. I mean, obviously, you're fighting an uphill battle against the leadership of your state. I want to go back last month when President Trump welcomed state governors to the White House, including your state's governor, Janet Mills, and they had a contentious exchange about the president's executive order, which basically bans biological men from women's sports. Take a look.
The NCAA has complied immediately, by the way. That's good. But I understand Maine. Is Maine here, the governor of Maine?
Well, down here.
Are you not going to comply with it?
I'm complying with state and federal laws.
We are the federal law. Well, you better do it. You better do it because you're not going to get any federal funding at all if you don't. And by the way, your population, even though it's somewhat liberal, although I did very well there, your population doesn't want men playing in women's sports. So you better comply because otherwise you're not getting any federal funding.
See you in court.
Every state, good. I'll see you in court. I look forward to that. That should be a real easy one. And enjoy your life after governor because I don't think you'll be in elected politics.
Well, you know, Representative, you've got somebody in your corner there, President Trump. That wasn't a great moment for your state, to say the least. But hopefully you can find a judge that's going to take up or at least listen to your case.
Absolutely. It's unfortunate that Governor Mills has taken this stance, which is wildly unpopular in our state, because she's not only preventing Maine girls from having a fair, safe, and level playing field, but also going to be preventing us from getting federal funds that we need at various levels of education. It's a terrible place to be, and it's unfortunate that that's the reputation Maine now has.
Yeah. You know, it stands out to us, obviously, that this issue, 80-20, right? People see they don't want biological men competing in women's sports at a national level. That's pretty clear. But you know the people of Maine, more the residents, did they see that moment and think their governor was standing up for them and their rights, or did they side on President Trump's side?
Mainers fall along that 80-20 line where, sure, 20% of them were cheering on Governor Mills and 80% were, embarrassed, frankly. And it's unfortunate that it's going to require federal action to resolve this situation. But Governor Mills and the legislative Democrats are sticking to their guns and sticking with the 20% of folks who think it's fine for biological males to be participating in girls' sports, putting a lot at risk in our state as they insist on this unpopular stance.
All right. Well, continue on with your efforts. Obviously, you have the support of the majority behind you.
Information. Truth is freedom. Is Newsmax. It's real news for real people.